There is an increasing amount of talk surrounding online therapy, and a lot of people have a lot of questions regarding it. There's still a lot of information that people kind of don't really know about it, and they don't really know if it's right for them, or maybe it isn't, and they really need in person therapy. So, I just wanted to talk to you guys today about 8 things you should know before your first online therapy session. First, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm Long Island's eating disorder specialist. I post on this channel 3 times a week, all about eating disorders, body image issues, and general mental health. So if you're interested in learning anything about that, please click the subscribe button down below. Also, if you found this video helpful or you liked it at the end, please consider giving it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're interested in this type of information or content, I also have a blog that I post on weekly, every Friday to be exact, as well as an Instagram. I will leave those links in the description below if you are interested in checking either one of those out. There's a lot of information to cover about online therapy, so this video is really tailored for if you're really already kind of decided on seeking an online therapist. Not that a person has to specifically be online, however, if that's the way that you're going to receive your therapy. For myself, I do a lot of therapy in person as well as online, and normally when I'm doing it online, it is because it is difficult for the person to get there in session. Sometimes I do it if they normally see me in person, however, for that period of time, or whatever they're on vacation, whatever the case might be. However, some people I see all online. Perhaps they are in another location in New York and they can't really get to me. Obviously, it's not, if you're living upstate or in the city, you're not going to be able to get into my office in Eastern Long Island. So there are people that I see online. I do stand by the idea that in person is always ideal. However, I really do believe that there is a strong benefit to online therapy as well. I truly believe that people can get very similar results seeing a therapist online as they can in person. And of course, therapy at all is better than no therapy. So if really your only option is to seek therapy online because of location or whatever the case might be, or maybe sometimes because of a specialty, as you know, I specifically work with eating disorders. That's my specialty, and some people don't have access to one very local. Of course, I'm only licensed in the state of New York right now, so in the case of for me, anyone in New York can see me, but like I said, if they're living upstate or in the city, they're not going to be able to come to my office. So if they don't have one local to them, I could see them via an online platform. So if you are looking into online therapy or kind of making that decision to do it, here are 8 things that you should know prior to your first online therapy session. So number 1, you want to make sure that you're able and willing to carve out the time and the location where you have the ability to just focus on therapy. We want to treat it very, very similar to in-person. So minimize distractions and such. So if you have kids, ideally, hopefully you can get childcare for that period of time. It's usually 45 minutes, so that you can have distraction free and just be in a quiet area, so that you can engage in your therapy as though you were coming in person. Number 2 is so simple yet really easily could be overlooked because we have Wi-Fi literally everywhere. However, there is good Wi-Fi connection and there is not so good Wi-Fi connection. So it's when you're basically streaming, when you're having a video session real time. So you really need to make sure that you have good Wi-Fi connection. So I'm not saying that it needs to be like the most stellar, best Wi-Fi connection ever, but a good one at that, so that you make sure you have uninterrupted sessions. It's horrible when there is a client who doesn't have the best Wi-Fi connection, and as a result of that we have a lot of interruptions in our sessions, and then that really takes away from the therapy, takes away from the time that you have, because you do have a limited time. So wherever you're choosing to have your sessions and for yourself, make sure the Wi-Fi connection is good. Number 3, it kind of goes back to what I said in the first one. Make sure that your room and environment is distraction free. You want to treat it as though you were in person. So if you're probably using a computer or a tablet or whatever in order to have your sessions. You can even use your phone. But what I would suggest doing is to, again, treat it as though you're in person. Treat it as though it's as important as it is, because this is your therapy. You're paying good money for it. Minimize distractions by closing all the browsers, turning off notifications, turning your phone onto vibrate or ideally silent. Make sure that nothing is popping up on the phone while you are having that session. Anything that takes away from your time, just being able to focus on you, that's something that you want to minimize as best as you can. Number 4, be prepared to sit down and to sit tight until the end of the session. Just because you're doing it via an online platform and then you're not sitting in a therapist chair does not mean it's a time for driving, does not mean it's a time for cooking, does not mean that it's a time for cleaning. It is time for your therapy. Treat it as such. Treat it as though you were in person. Sit down, sit tight, and minimize distractions, minimize anything that you wouldn't be doing when you're sitting in a therapist chair. So whatever you wouldn't be doing if you were sitting in a therapist chair is also what you shouldn't be doing while you're sitting at home or wherever you are in front of your computer. That really takes the focus out of therapy, and again, you're paying good money for it, so why would you want to do that? Sit tight and just pay attention to yourself and to your therapist and to the therapeutic process. Number 5, I would really encourage everyone who is going to be starting online therapy to at least sit down about 10 to 15 minutes prior to the session start time, just to make sure that you know exactly what you need to be doing. The browser is up and ready for whatever platform you are using. Most platforms that you will use, you do need to sign up for an account. Usually it's a very, very quick sign up, but everyone uses something different, so I can't account for every type of online platform that a therapist will use. But make sure that you have a few minutes ahead of time. This way at least you can settle in, just do some breathing if you're a little nervous for your first session, but also to load up the computer, make sure the Wi-Fi connection is good, sign up for an account if you need to sign up, and to be ready for the start time at the exact start time, because your therapist should be also. Number 6 is to commit to your sessions as though you are in person anyways. So what I mean by this, and goes for really if you're seeing someone in person or seeing someone online, it is so important for you to commit to your treatment. This time is being set aside by not only yourself but also your therapist, and this is your time for you. And if you are not taking it seriously or not committing to yourself enough to carve out that time for your treatment, you're really doing a big disservice to yourself. Essentially, make sure that you are prioritizing and valuing that time. Number 7, this is something, again, that might seem a little silly. However, the Remind app in the phone, the Reminders app, I have actually just recently personally gotten into it because I noticed there was a lot of things on my to-do list that I couldn't really do right then, and I hated adding it to my to-do list because I couldn't take care of the thing. So I really started using the Reminders app, and let me tell you, it's awesome. But besides the point, I think I have an iPhone, so I don't really know for every phone, but I'm sure that there are plenty of apps that you can download for yourself if you don't have the Reminders app. But set a recurring reminder every week. Ideally, you're going to have the same time for your session every single week, same time, same day. So set a recurring reminder about 15 minutes ahead of your session. If you tend to be out and about a lot, maybe earlier, so that for any reason, if you forget, you have enough time to get home and be on time for your session. It is a little simpler that when you don't actually have to be in a physical location, that sometimes it just swoops by in your mind and you don't really remember that you have that session if you don't, just remind yourself of it. So definitely having that reminder is helpful. At best, it might be just a little annoying because you have your stuff together, you know that you have sessions. So just put it in there just in case, because things happen. Number 8, and my last tip, is that make sure that whatever platform that your therapist is using is a HIPAA compliant platform. This is so important. I know a lot of therapists and professionals who try to use FaceTime or Skype or a load of other ones, and those are not HIPAA compliant at this moment in time. And what that means for you is that you are potentially putting your privacy and your confidentiality at risk. I make sure that the website that I use is a platform that is specifically HIPAA compliant, so that is compliant with the rules of my profession as well as in the best interest of my clients, because I never want to risk their privacy or confidentiality. So if you feel comfortable, make sure, and then your therapist is trying to use a different method, let them know that that's not something you're super comfortable with, and hopefully that'll push them to make sure that they're using the proper platform platform. But if they, for any reason, I don't anticipate this happening, but there are good and bad of every profession. So if for any reason you feel pressured in any way, shape, or form, I would highly suggest looking for a different therapist, even though that might be a little bit of a hassle. But you really don't want to risk putting your privacy and your confidentiality out there. I hope that this gave you some tips in order to prepare for your first online therapy session, or maybe it made your decision regarding your online therapy. What I would suggest is that if that is on the table for you and it is something that kind of is your only option, go for it. I truly don't think it can hurt. Like I said before, any therapy is better than no therapy, so go for it. And if you don't like it or you're finding that it's really just not for you, then the worst case scenario is that you terminate treatment for that particular therapist, that particular mode of treatment. No harm, no foul, right? If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment down below if you have any other questions that maybe I didn't cover here. There's a lot of information that I could talk about with online therapy. So if you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them, or perhaps other people have those questions as well and I could do a whole video on it. So feel free to leave that comment. Also, you could click my face over here to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you proper access to treatment on your journey to finding your state of balance, and I will see you in my next video.